Establishment archaeology regards Atlantis as a joke and doesn't take it seriously at all. The view of establishment archaeology is that Atlantis was a fiction made up by the Greek philosopher Plato. The earliest surviving reference in writing that we have to Atlantis, in writing that you can read, is the work of Plato, and it's in the dialogues known as the Timaeus and the Critias. And he speaks about this great civilization based upon an island, which was at one time nurturing, kind, gentle, loving, but as gradually became delirious with power and began to impose its power upon other peoples around the world. And eventually the universe struck it down with this enormous flood, and Atlantis was submerged beneath the sea. Now, Egyptologists reject all of this. There is also a mention of Athens in the Atlantis story as it's passed down to us by Plato, and archaeologists in general rightly point out that there was no Athens at that time. I'm getting ahead of myself because the time is important as well. Unlike many ancient myths, Plato's story of Atlantis actually contains a date, very specific date. Here's the provenance of that story. A famous Greek lawmaker called Solon traveled to Egypt around 600 BC, and Solon did a kind of tour of Egypt with a translator. And on that tour, he stopped off at a temple in the Delta dedicated to the goddess Neith, the temple of Sais in the Delta. And there he saw enormous inscriptions on the walls, and he asked local priests to translate those inscriptions for him. And those inscriptions told the story of Atlantis. Atlantis is not an ancient Egyptian word. We're looking at a word that made its way from ancient Egyptian into Greek.